Listen to LeBron James, Key, Jay. Listen to LeBron James' exit interview. Check out this part.
The front office is going to do whatever it takes to help this ball club become a better ball club from top to bottom. They ask me my opinion, I give my opinion, but at the end of the day, they're going to make the decisions that they feel is best for the franchise. You know, I'm not going to sit here and make decisions for the front office and things of that nature, but I love being a teammate with Russ, and, you know, that's just the way it is.
So we had a caller in the previous hour, the 6 o'clock hour, say, hey, you know who the next coach of the Lakers should be? LeBron James. Now, Key, I'm not trying to take that literally, right? Like, but let me tell you what I like about it. What I like about that idea. It forces LeBron to be accountable for the decisions, let's face it, that he is. If he's not making them, he's highly influential in them, right? I like that idea. It feels to me, Key, like so often LeBron wants to call shots, but publicly don't want to be known as a shot caller, right? Why is that? Why do you think that is?
First of all, it's a different era of basketball. And LeBron James is in a different generation than some of the older heads, which would be, you know, out front Magic Johnson a long time ago in the 80s when he said, you know, me or him and to Dr. Buss, and Dr. Buss chose Magic Johnson. LeBron James just wants to play basketball, not push anybody over, nothing like that. And you can't blame him for it, though, right? We all know that he has heavy influence on the makeup of a roster. It's been that way his entire career, and there's nothing wrong with that. He just doesn't, you know, when you have to make some tough decisions to get rid of people, it's harder than making that tough decision to go get them.
But what's the big deal? Like, if we all know he's calling the shots, why is it like he wants to project this thing where he doesn't call the shots, but no one buys it, right? Everyone thinks he does.
But you don't – I mean, no one buys it, right? But – think about it, though, Max. If you got rid of somebody, they got families, they got, you know, you just don't want to, you want to stay away from that. You kind of want to just stay away from it, you know?
But see, Keith, this is one of the things, you know, when you think about the greats that have came before him. Yes, let's use Kobe Bryant, who was a great in the Laker uniform. One of the things that I think people look at LeBron and when they hear him talk that way, they recognize that, okay, like he's being politically correct, even though we understand he is making moves behind the scenes. But it kind of brings up the past that LeBron doesn't seem to like confrontation at all. There's this uneasiness he has with confrontation, whereas Kobe seemed to be a little bit more direct with stuff about like, this is where it is, blah, blah, blah. Like, say it to you, where it's like the passive-aggressive. And I'm not saying that's LeBron, because LeBron can confront you to a degree, but like with this, like, yeah, he does hold the power, and we all know that. I don't like sometimes when it's like, hey, we're the ones being played for fools. Like, well, you know, I don't really make those decisions.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's okay. You know, Kobe came into the game with a certain attitude, and LeBron James came into it with a certain attitude. If LeBron all of a sudden changed to become something different than he is now, you would be looking at him as a complete phony.
Yeah.
At least you do know where he stands with the situation.
No, because I saw LeBron change when LeBron James changed when he went to Miami. Remember he became the villain, and he actually embraced it. And I actually think that
did he change though, Jay? I don't think so.
I do think he changed. I think he took ownership of that Miami Heat team, and I think he found a different side of himself in the Miami Heat uniform that he then brought back to Cleveland and said, I know who the hell I am now, Dan Gilbert. Get the hell out of the way. I'm going to bring us to a championship. And that transcended his greatness into a different state of mind.
But you also
with the
talking
Lakers.
about, at that time, you're talking about a 24-year-old kid.
That's what I'm saying, though.
I mean, you know, and on top of that, he wasn't running nothing in Miami. That was all being run from upstairs by Pat Riley.
But it gave him the gravitas to come back to Cleveland and say, this is mine.
You know, we talk
I know
about
how we're going to do it.
personalities. We talk about personalities, and let me be naive here for a second, right? I think you can tell some stuff about a guy from the way he plays a game, right? You can see something about his personality. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. Okay, LeBron James always wants to make the right basketball play, right? Kobe Bryant wants to take that last shot. You know why? Because that is the right basketball play in Kobe's mind, no matter what it is. I'm Kobe Bryant, damn it. If I shoot, that's the right basketball play. LeBron has something in him, to me, that's not quite the same. Like, if he does think that's the right basketball play for him to take the shot, he don't want to say it out loud. He's not that he would rather share the ball. And, there's a different kind of – and by the way, if you ask me who's higher on the all-time list, to me, LeBron by a little bit, right? But he doesn't want to assert himself, it seems to me, in quite the same way that Kobe Bryant was very comfortable with, right? And Michael Jordan was very comfortable with. And maybe that extends to these kind of things too.
Yeah, and that's okay, though, Max. A guy like LeBron, okay, we assume, because we know, right, that everything was put together to bring AD from New Orleans to Los Angeles, and they got rid of everybody that was young in their future to bring AD to get a title. That was a LeBron James, and that was a clutch management decision well in the works when Magic Johnson was running the franchise. It didn't happen. It happened right afterwards with Rob Pelinka when Magic stepped down. But they was working together on that. That wasn't an all LeBron decision. Just like LeBron said, he is going to give the advice to the front office if they ask him for that advice. But in the end, it's not his decision. Because if it was his decision, they would have made the trade for John Wall and moved on with Westbrook and gave up the pick before the trade deadline. They decided not to do that because that was not a LeBron decision.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.